What states are attracting people? States that are free, that are open, that are encouraging business. What states are losing people?
I'm struggling to reconcile two conflicting thoughts that I have in my head, because by one token, it's like, how do we expect? Here's another thing that I like about Bitcoin is it does give the Fed and the banks, even Congress a run for their money. Like, it's a competition, right? Like they can no longer just kind of do whatever they want, like without consequences, because like now there is this competitor. So that's by like just naturally going to create competition and hopefully force them to make better decisions, right? Like less just money creation, less stimulus packages, because it's like, okay, people are coming out of the dollar and they're switching into this competitor, which is called Bitcoin. But the two conflicting thoughts are, by one token, I think like, okay, how can the government ever really allow this to happen? Like, that's one of the reasons I'm putting one toe in is, do I believe that they're going to allow, like the government is going to allow this, totally that's not unregulated. It might become a little bit more regulated, but like this uncorrelated, uncontrolled, decentralized asset become the world's, or even the countries, which really the dollar is the world's reserve currency. I mean, it's what the oil is pegged against, right? So is the government really going to let this happen? But then here's my other argument to that is like, well, who is the government, right? Like, do we believe it's these guys in smoky back rooms? Like, if you look at the actual politicians, I mean, they can't get anything done, right? Like, they disagree on everything. And sure, we do have insider trading, we have corruption, of course, but like, that doesn't mean that they'll be able to come together enough. Like, do I believe that there's, some guys behind the curtain, like pulling all the strings that are going to go and say like, oh, no, this is not allowed because it's infringing on our wealth? I mean, that's hard. That's another thing that's difficult to do too.
Yeah, what I would say, the government, like, hey, the government's going to ban it. I hear that a lot. So you have Cynthia Loomis, who's a U.S. Senator from Wyoming, on the Senate Banking Committee. She owns, I think it's reported, somewhere between 5 and 10 Bitcoin. And then you have Warren Davidson, who's a U.S. congressman in the Ohio 8th District. You have, mayors around the country. So Suarez down in your, neck of the woods down there in Florida, in Miami, talking about it and trying to be like this crypto capital. He's a little bit more crypto than just Bitcoin, but he's taking paychecks in Bitcoin. One of the things that's interesting is you go back to the hedge fund folks that you talked about owning Bitcoin. You get entrenchment with people with already kind of what I would consider old money with connections. It gets harder and harder to ban it when you have people that know people with money. And then the other thing that you're going to see is just the game theory of if other countries start adopting it and attracting talent. So most people probably have heard, El Salvador did it. Now, is El Salvador the, place everyone's going to flock to? I'm not necessarily saying that, but there will be more countries that will adopt it as legal tender, and they will say, hey, if your government's not treating you well and you want to start a business, we have really advantageous tax laws. Bring your Bitcoin here, start your businesses, and we're gonna allow you to be successful. And you know what people do? They march with their feet. Look at what's happened in the United States. What states are attracting people? States that are free, that are open, that are encouraging business. What states are losing people? States that have, they're overstepping their legal authority, that are doing things that are outside of what people want, and they're flocking and leaving and saying, I'm out of here.